Mostly dry tonight. There will be some drizzle in places. Lowest temperatures overnight of 6 or 7 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a dedicated call centre.
This is News Talk.
Hello there, welcome along. Brilliant show for you this evening. We have Mick McCarthy in studio. He was in earlier on, total gent, charming, funny as ever, and we'll play that interview with Mick in about 15 minutes time. It's worth sticking around for, lots of good stuff in it. We will also have Kevin Kilban doing a special football show this evening. He is at the Backpage pub. He is with Ronnie Whelan and his and other people's hero, Mark Lawrenson. And then Wednesday Night Rugby as well with Keith and Matt Williams on the way after 8. And we'll talk to Robert Klemko about Kaepernick, Nike, the NFL, Trump and all that kind of business. We are 53106 and also at Off the Ball on Twitter. It's just me and Richie here this evening.
Me and you, Joe. Just us together.
Like
just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
It's like a Sunday.
The good show. Not those rubbish weekday ones.
No. So Kev Kilban, he's so close and yet so far.
He's got the good, whatever about being close to his hero tonight and being close to Ronnie Whelan and in the company of a very select number of our wonderful listeners.
Yeah.
He also gets to have the class pizza that the Backpage has.
Is that right?
Oh man,
okay,
some good stuff.
I've never had the pleasure.
It's good, and I can't believe that I'm sitting in the chair that Mick McCarthy sat in as well.
Yeah, just about 2 hours ago, Big Mick was in. The big news is he's hooking up with Virgin Media Sport. He's one of their new stable of pundits. Graham Souness, Niall Quinn, Big Mick.
Oh, Souness and Mick on the one panel.
Well, I asked him, who's your favourite pundit then? So, you know, because I was, if you remember McCarthy's Park, that documentary about the Irish team when he was the manager.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Vaguely, yeah, there's some good
it's
stuff
on YouTube,
in it. Yeah. So, I mean, Mick was a manager and it's only normal who cared what people thought because he's walking off the pitch when they've beaten Lithuania and they've beaten them 2-1, I think, and then they've beaten Iceland just 2 or 3 days before that. It was a double header away both matches, like 6 points from 2 away games.
When Roy played a sweeper.
No, this was the away game.
Oh, the away game, sorry. Yeah.
And he's walking off the pitch with Mick Byrne and the camera's following them and he turns to Mick, he goes, "Who is it back? Is it Giles and Beglin? Oh, yes, have that." And he's absolutely delighted that it's going to be stuffed to Giles and Beglin back in the RTE studio. So he admitted he was sensitive like anyone else would be about what was said about you and stuck up for himself. So he said though, his favourite pundit, I said, "So who's your favourite pundit?" And he said, "Graham Souness, I love him." And he hadn't realised when he jumped into bed with Virgin Media that Graham Souness was going to be alongside him.
Oh, it's the dream team, really.
Yeah.
There's just absolutely no messing with either one of those.
It's a no-nonsense talking dream team.
Tommy's going to love that.
Yeah, Tommy will enjoy that. It will be great. Tommy will want to phrase his questions the right way or he'll be shot down quick. Can you imagine asking Mick the wrong thing?
He knows him.
It'll be great TV.
Tommy, no, come off it. I love Mick. I have it on record. I love that man.
I'm with you.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He really, he's the first author when I was a kid that I ever read a bad word from while reading a book, because Captain Fantastic, when I got it when I was 8 for Christmas from my auntie that year, it was the first time I'd ever read the word SH1T in a book, because it'd been like Roald Dahl books up until then, which weren't big on curse words.
Yeah.
But Mick was.
Yeah. No, he's in very good form. And I mean, back in 2002, I was a raving mad Manchester United fan. Roy Keane was the only one in this country who was worried about standards. Can we not really, why would I, like, he's right, they're wrong, was generally my assessment of the whole thing. And I think, to be fair, the subsequent 16 years and what Mick has done with his career and the scrapes that Roy continually finds himself in.
Please don't make a definitive statement on this. We're going to have
I have come around to the Mick McCarthy viewpoint overwhelmingly, I have to say, on the whole
Overwhelmingly?
thing. Oh, listen, overwhelmingly. Look at the way he's conducted himself throughout the subsequent 16 years and his career before that. And even you sit here with Kev will tell you what a brilliant manager he was, how great he was to play for, great atmosphere. Meanwhile, we've Harry Arter, who's going to be watching from his couch in Cardiff tomorrow night.
We can probably hear him shouting. Probably about 15 people rattling around the Cardiff City Stadium tomorrow for that game.
So anyway, look, Mick's on the way. He's in really good form in about 15 minutes' time. Talks about various things. Obviously, he's out of work at the moment.
Criminal.
Away from the media, so he talks about what that's been like. Doesn't like it, actually itching to get back in. Can't believe he's 60, enjoying time with the grandkids. Talks about the Declan Rice situation very well, too.
60 but wanting to work again. I'll tell you what would be the ideal kind of job for him. Mm-hmm. International management.
I certainly ask him if he feels there's any unfinished business.
Come on.
So, the crusade has started. Would you not? Would you? I could just think, you come in next, do your bit, and then Chris Hughton in a few years, he'll be ready to step in and we'll be in good shape.
You know, there's conversations have to happen before we can go down that road.
Nothing like a dry sense of humour.
I love Mick.
I mean, Mick and Mark Lawrenson on the same show.
He is an incredibly Irish Yorkshireman. Like, obviously, with the identity chat, he'll go into his background, etc.
Yeah.
But like, his sense of humour is very Irish. Like, I've come across that a lot from people of his age, especially, and especially from people from the country, where they just kind of go, sure, look, you know, he'd be there, oh, listen, you know, I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah. So, you just want to do Mick McCarthy accents.
If I can do it for the next 2 hours, I will.
Yeah. So, Mick on the way this hour, to be followed by Keith Wood and Matt Williams after 8 o'clock. And then Kev's going to be at the back page with Ronnie Whelan, with Mark Lawrenson and some invited listeners. So that is our show this evening. That's a hell of a lineup, if I do say so.
It is.
We're going to get into the news round, which is brought to you this evening, as ever, by the good people at Screwfix.ie, who are championing the trade with a choice of over, not 5,000, Richie, not 10,000, but 20,000 quality trade products.
You're getting more comfortable with the read, Joe, and I like that.
Selling my soul.
As your Sunday producer, I admire wherever you're going with that.
So, well, this has sort of come out of nowhere. Kevin McStay.
Yeah, he decided and has stepped down, indeed, as manager of the Roscommon footballers. The county board confirmed the news this evening, saying they'd accepted the Mayo man's decision with a heavy heart. In his parting statement, McStay says the board wanted him to see out the remaining 2 years of his deal, but he has politely declined the invitation. He was appointed as a joint manager of the Rossies with Fergie O'Donnell back in 2015, taking sole charge a year later. He led Roscommon to the Connacht title in 2017 and also helped them reach this year's inaugural Super 8 series. McStay, for those interested, has also closed the door on potentially taking over the vacant Mayo manager's job, as he's confirmed his retirement from all senior inter-county management. So that's that one done. He's also had a parting shot at the GAA, asking them to do more to support so-called smaller counties. He writes, there are significant challenges the smaller counties in the GAA face. If the GAA is committed to ensuring all counties are at a minimum competitive, then they must be supported financially in a way that reflects the demands and the need for fairness, equity and solidarity. It's a very long-ranging statement, well worth a read, and it's over on the Roscommon GAA site. And it's one of those ones that can be read in Kevin McStay's accent as well, because he writes very much as he speaks. Does
he give any sense there's been any issue with the players? And I asked that totally without any knowledge of anything. I've been busy with Mick McCarthy and various bits all day. It just seems odd that he's got years left running his contract, that the county board are saying they're accepting his resignation with a heavy heart.
Yep.
I know the Super 8s didn't go well, but a Connacht title and making the Super 8s this year is reasonable success. I'm not quite sure why he's walked away.
Basically, he says they had their review, their 2018 review over the course of the past while. He obviously thanks everybody that was involved, etc, etc, etc. He says our annual review of the 2018 season was completed recently, having considered the many factors involved in managing a county football squad and unable to resolve enough of those factors to my satisfaction. I've decided that a change in management should take place immediately. I feel I've brought the team as far as I can at this stage, and a new voice and direction is now required. The handover to the next management group will be orderly and without fuss.
Okay. That's ambiguous enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's vague enough, but okay. I think it's more of a, when you consider he's stepping away, he's basically drawn a line under inter-county management, full stop.
Full stop,
I think work and family life, he says he's going to continue on his life stress-free now at the end of the statement as well. So it's just a case of he just wants to free up part of his life, and that's fair enough.
Okay, in fairness, no good of speculating on the radio much further. We'll see what comes out in the wash. So we've another player ruled out tomorrow?
Yep, Alan Brown, the latest to be ruled out of that Republic of Ireland Nations League opener with Wales. The Preston midfielder has suffered a calf injury. It follows James McLean's withdrawal yesterday. The FAI confirming he's broken his wrist in 2 places and he'll be out for the next 6 weeks. Of bad news for Stoke there. Meanwhile, it's thought a decision from Declan Rice on his international future could be imminent. Current Ireland captain Seamus Coleman was speaking this evening and was a sane voice amongst the rabble, saying it's key the West Ham teenager is given adequate space to make up his mind which path he wants to take.
I know some people back home might not like to hear it, but he's a 19-year-old boy who was, born in England, but that's no reason why he can't be a proud Irishman. I seen him after the Turkey game getting man of the match, and I seen him embrace his father in the tunnel, and that's not for show, that's genuine. He was genuinely proud to play in the games that he did, and in an ideal world we'll get him back, but it's not as straightforward as you know what you are, which I've heard a few people say. The young lad was born in England. There's no reason why he can't feel some part English and also be very proud to play for Ireland, which I know he is. So on that situation, fingers crossed, we'll welcome Declan back with open arms, whatever he decides.
Totally agree with that. That's all fair enough. Is there any reason you're saying there's a feeling the decision may be imminent?
Paul Lennon was writing this morning in the Star saying a decision may be imminent. There was a time frame. I don't know where this actually came from, so I don't want to misquote Paul on this one.
Okay.
But it basically said that Wednesday morning there could be a statement from Declan Rice regarding his international future, and the word is that it could be positive from an Irish perspective. But again,
there's been lots of words.
There have.
So, Martin O'Neill?
Lots of words and not many Danish players to be seen. Martin O'Neill's called on UEFA to intervene in the ongoing saga surrounding the Danish team. It is a very much makeshift Denmark side that takes on Slovakia in a friendly tonight. A dispute over commercial rights means it's a squad comprised of third and fourth tier domestic players as well as futsal team members. Denmark are due to begin their own Nations League campaign against Wales on Sunday, and O'Neill says a weakened Denmark facing Wales could leave Ireland at a serious disadvantage in their Nations League group.
Yeah, it's true.
Good news for you, Joe. It's Christmas around the corner. European Ryder Cup captain Thomas Bjorn has gone with experience for his 4 wildcard picks. Sergio Garcia, Paul Casey, Ian Poulter and Henrik Stenson have completed the team of 12 that will try and wrestle the famous trophy back from the US in Paris. Between those 4, they hold 20 Ryder Cup caps. In a team with 5 rookies, Sergio says he has a dual role to play in Paris later this month.
You know, I'm going to give everything that I have, like Thomas was saying, not only on the golf course, but on the team room. Make sure that, you know, some of those rookies and some of the other guys feel as comfortable as possible. Try to make them better and more comfortable. And, you know, hopefully that helps us all to get our goal, which is winning the Ryder Cup again.
There you go. Sergio Garcia, one of 4 wildcards named today by Thomas Bjorn. Last night, Bjorn's counterpart, Jim Furyk, picked Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson and Bryson DeChambeau as 3 of his 4 wildcards. The 4th will be revealed after next week's BMW Championship. DeChambeau was at Hazeltine 2 years ago, but only as a spectator.
I wanted to get a good feel of what the atmosphere was like, you know? I mean, at the time, my game wasn't that great, but I knew one day if I could work hard, I could potentially be on a Ryder Cup team. And you know, as I look back, it was a great decision to go there and, you know, get a good experience of what it would be like, the atmosphere around that whole environment, you know, and now I'm going to get to experience it, which is going to be great.
There you go, it's Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah. So I saw Brandel Chambly, who's a really good pundit, making the argument that he's not so sure about Woods, Mickelson and even DeChambeau, maybe to a lesser extent, because the course, Le Golf National in Paris, is a real ball strikers course and it's not overly generous off the tee. Mickelson and Woods in particular would not be known to find fairways with driver in hand.
Yeah.
And I would presume that's one of the reasons that Bjorn's gone for Garcia. He's a brilliant ball striker. Like, I mean, that is right up his street. And he hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been great form, but hasn't been terrible either in the last year. There have been flashes of good rounds. So it makes sense maybe with 5 rookies to get Sergio in. So we'll see. I mean, Woods and Mickelson flaring the ball left and right will make for a long first 2 days for their foursomes partners.
It's added a bit of box office to the whole thing, though.
Listen,
because look, you look at the 8.
Have to pick them.
The 8 that were qualified automatically for both, and you know they're decent teams. You know, but you needed, I think, a little bit of star power. It wouldn't have been obviously in the consideration of either Furyk or Bjorn, but from a spectator's point of view, it's going to be good.
Well, it bloody should be. I would not be surprised if the TV producers were on to Furyk saying, Jim.
I think when you see how closely...
Back to the real world here, Jim.
You see how closely linked the whole thing is. Like, there was a whole...
It's a TV event.
There was an hour-long special on Sky today with Thomas Bjorn naming the 4 wildcards. And there were interviews set up live from the different points. 3 of them were in the US, the one tournament. And another one was in Europe. I can't remember which one was based in Europe. But Sergio, I think, was on his own, actually. He wasn't playing in the tournament. The other 3 were.
Right.
And the whole thing was set up. And again, last night, you saw the 3 lads coming out alongside Furyk and having their own little press conference as well. But it's very much a TV event.
Yeah, it's entertainment. Like, that money almost sustains the European Tour in some respects for each 2 years. So, OTBAM had Cora Staunton on this morning, who gave a strong, impassioned interview. Just bring people up to date with what we are now calling a saga. This is a fully fledged saga now.
Timeline of events, basically in July, before the Mayo qualifier with Cavan in the Ladies Football Championship, 12 players left the panel, citing player welfare issues. Since then, Carnacan were thrown out of the Mayo Championship. They provided 8 of those 12 players. They won an appeal to be reinstated, and yesterday the remaining Mayo ladies panel said there were no issues surrounding player welfare in the camp, and they claimed that a coup had been staged against the current manager, Peter Lahey. But speaking on this morning's OTB...
Also, sorry, before we play the clip, the other thing that's happened is, having lost the appeal, the Mayo County Board are going back to try and get Carnacon kicked out of the championship again.
Yeah, Cora's called that a witch hunt, and she says the 12 players left in the build-up to July's qualifier with Cavan were left with no other option.
There was never a coup wherever this came out. As I said, the environment for us wasn't right within the county setup. We didn't feel it was a safe environment to be in, so we decided to leave. Left the environment, and from that, we wish the girls well, keep going on and, represent their county as well as they can. There was no failed coup here at all. We just decided we could not stay in the environment. For us, it wasn't healthy to stay in the environment, so we decided to leave. And from there, we left, we went back to our clubs, and that was it. There was no failed coup here.
So it's an interview you should check out, OTBAM, go onto the YouTube channel or check it out on the Twitter feed. It's there, the full interview. Definitely worth listening to. She was on for about 10-15 minutes. When she's talking about it not being safe and not being healthy. So again, look, they're all reluctant to actually say what the issue is. The remaining players are saying there was no issue. Cora Stonin there has come on with the lads this morning and shot that down in her eyes. She said it wasn't safe, wasn't healthy. They're big phrases to use. Ultimately, this thing needs to now be investigated properly. It's not up to the media to try and coerce this out of people or try and find out what happened. It's clearly very serious. I don't know, Mayo County Board, I don't know if they're the right people to be investigating this anymore.
Anybody from the LGFA?
Maybe, yeah, I think it needs to be an honest broker to go in and talk to the 8 or 12 players who left and find out what happened exactly, what their claims are, to investigate those claims fully so that Cora Staunton and everybody else can say there was a fair investigation here. And needs to be done pretty quickly because this thing is just becoming a farce now.
It's ugly.
Yeah, very.
This stage is very ugly.
Very. So that's pretty much our news round done for this evening. It's a shortened one. Mick McCarthy is on the way in just a moment, and then for more football, we have Mark Lawrence and Ronnie Whelan, as I said, alongside Kev. They are at the back page in Fibstra thanks to Boyle Sports, and that is on the way after 9 o'clock. But up next, Mick McCarthy, who was in earlier on, and he's coming to you in just a moment.
Off the Ball on News Talk.